process. To make cow's milk for human consumption, the cows can also be milked. Your own milk creations can be made and sold. Additionally, cow excrement can be bought and sold as plant fertilizer. Waste collection. Although this company picks up trash, the revenues it generates are far from trash. Many individuals hesitate to start this business because of all the trash packaging you would have to perform. Nobody knows if it's a business that can make you millions. Company for plastic recycling. This recycling firm is involved in the collection of plastic waste materials like nylons and plastic soft drink bottles, processing the garbage and creating a usable product out of it. Due to the availability of the materials required for this enterprise in Nigeria's environment, it is quite profitable. Nigerian producers invest almost half of their output back into the economy.
Without doubt, you have used several cooking oils before, but one thing is sure, you have never experienced true soya oil. This is not your regular cooking oil, it is a cooking oil with soul. From our quality ingredient selection to blending, extraction and packaging, we took time to think about your health. Besides giving you a delicious experience, true soya oil boosts your immune system, aids your digestive health, and improves your overall well-being. For inquiries, mouth-watering recipes, and more, connect with us on social media. True soya oil. Make the choice that keeps you and your loved ones healthy.
Making a name for oneself in a competitive job market is one of the biggest challenges. Why would a hiring manager choose your application from among hundreds or even thousands of others? Not just the qualifications you list in a single line on your resume, but also the examples you give in an interview or cover letter that highlight your strength can make the difference between receiving an offer or being rejected. Finding candidate with the right skills has reportedly been the biggest hiring challenge for employers during the coronavirus pandemic, according to a global report that gathered responses from about 3,000 business leaders. However, another 63% of companies claimed they will engage a candidate with transferable abilities like teamwork, time management, or leadership and train them in the technical facets of the position. The top 3 skills that employers will be seeking in 2022 are as follows. Dependability. A company's greatest asset is a reliable workforce. Employers place a high value or dependability in their teams. Therefore, it is crucial to emphasize this quality in your resume. There are numerous methods to emphasize dependability in your application, from showcasing your capacity to be self-reliant and meet corporate goals or targets to showing your leadership on a significant project. While describing your day-to-day duties in your most recent employment, you can also demonstrate to a recruiter that you are a dependable employee. Among the behaviors that demonstrate dependability in the job are meeting deadlines, being prompt in your responses to inquiries, and volunteering for assignment. Clear communication is frequently a crucial ability recruiters seek for job candidates, especially since many businesses continue to undertake remote or hybrid work. The pandemic has made it even more important for us to be excellent communicators, ensure that nothing gets lost in translation because we are working in multiple locations, and demonstrate empathy at this trying time. Along with listing this ability on your CV and LinkedIn page, you should show off your communication abilities in a real-world setting, either in your cover letter or an interview with concrete examples. assisting with presentations, giving comments, and asking comprehensive questions during meetings are all examples of effective communication. When a hiring agent queries you, how did you handle a circumstance that didn't go your way? You might mention that you gave your colleagues an update in real time via email or Slack, and then offer comment for how we could enhance our response moving forward. Problem solving. Due to the pandemic, we have all had to learn to adapt and be tenacious in the face of adversity. In the workplace where communication and collaboration can seem disjointed, problem-solving abilities have become crucial. Employers want candidates that can think on their feet and are at ease coming up with original solutions to problems. There is no way to get back lost time. Even the Christian Holy Book urged us to change the present because the days are bad. Everyone values their time, as we all know. The challenge of establishing a schedule and keeping up with changes has become Herculean in today's quick-paced society. Making space for time management strategies is essential for this reason. The burden has increased as a result of the constant change taking place, which has made it challenging for companies to maintain a work-life balance, and a few people have any experience with time management. On the other hand, time management entails arranging and planning the time you will devote to a particular task. Increasing productivity and efficiency is a key goal. Successful time management improves outcomes in both business and personal life. According to studies, time management techniques increase the use of time while also saving vital time. It is sufficient to remark that the availability of an efficient time management system facilitates the efficient use of time. In return, it raises engagement and productivity. Experts say that in order to effectively manage our time, we must establish a time management schedule. You must first adhere to the 4 Ds of effectiveness, and they are as follows. Desire. Understanding the worth of time can only be achieved when there is a desire to practice effective time management. When you handle it correctly, admitting it can increase your confidence. Here are some further details. Concerningly, there will be interruptions in the path of your important task, which will eventually lead to time being lost. However, poor time management will depend on your resolve to avoid distractions. It is crucial to take decisiveness seriously as a time management talent, since it requires a strong commitment to using effective time management techniques until they become second nature. You must decide if this routine will help you become a better person in the future. The 4th D is discipline. And that's all. One of the most important elements for better time management is this. You will be able to determine what to do and when to do it if you practice discipline. By practicing discipline, you can keep a regular schedule that you will adhere to and refrain from engaging in activities that take up all of your time and energy. Decisiveness is a time management skill that must be taken seriously, since it necessitates a strong commitment to implementing efficient time management strategies until they become automatic. You need to decide if this habit will make you a better person in the long run. Discipline is the only 4th D. This is one of the most crucial components for improved time management. If you're disciplined, you will be able to decide what to do and when to do it. Discipline allows you to maintain a regular routine that you will follow and avoid indulging in things that consume all of your time and energy. It is normal for an employer to have encountered situations where the employees are under pressure to finish the task and project. The less important tasks pile up when such a situation occurs. This increases their workload, making it difficult to manage time for the pending work. The key, according to Stephen Covey, is to schedule your priority rather than order the items on your schedule. Employees could be instructed to partition the job and assign tasks to others in order to avoid this. This will aid in time management and enable them to work more effectively and quickly as a team.
Without doubt, you have used several cooking oils before, but one thing is sure, you have never experienced true soya oil. This is not your regular cooking oil. It is a cooking oil with soul. From our quality ingredients selection to blending, extraction and packaging, we took time to think about your health. Besides giving you a delicious experience, True Soya Oil boosts your immune system, aids your digestive health, and improves your
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Lagos, from wherever you're watching us. It's Ibrandtv, and my name is Joshua Okata. I say welcome to the Wednesday edition of Ibrandtv. And of course, today's edition promises to be very exciting because we've got lots and lots and lots of trending stories, that we'll be offering to you. But before we go into our discussion proper, usually it's our culture to keep you abreast or bring you up to speed with latest informations and news stories that made the headlines across various social media platforms. And of course, one of which in the last 48 hours that have been causing so much buzz is the election that took place in Senegal. And of course, we had a very young chap within the age of 44 who emerged from that election, and of course is certain to be the president of Senegal, which begs the question, are we as a people ready to move Nigeria forward, especially with looking at the crops of young ones in the country today that should lead the nation? Are we ready as a nation? Well, the answer is certainly no, and I'm going to tell you why. I have my reasons. And of course, we've growing up, especially looking at it from our youthful days when we used to use the phrase, the youth will become the leaders of tomorrow. The last we saw, especially with regards to this, I think should be during the military era, where we had persons like Muritala, who emerged at the age of 40 or thereabouts, and of course led the nation as the head of state. But unfortunately, in the last 24 years of civilian rule, which we call the democratic dispensation, we've never had any youth or anyone within the age of 35 or 40 who emerge as president. We've always had persons as old as 60, 70, and 80, which begs the question, when will the youth actually be allowed to rule this nation, considering the fact that we have so much when it comes to a large density of youth making up the population. But of course, don't forget that at some point in time, the immediate past administration, I'm talking about Muhammadu Buhari administration, signed a bill into law. And what bill is that? We're talking about the Not Too Young to Run bill. That bill was signed on May 31st, 2018, which would pave the way for young Nigerians within their brim of their youth to be able to lead this nation. But of course, that has just existed on paper alone. And why am I saying this? Towards the end of President Muhammadu Buhari's first term in office, he was asked the question, now that this has become a law, would you drop your second term bid so as to allow young ones to come in? Guess what he said? He jokingly replied to the question that after my second term. Just imagine. So it means that he is more selfish about he taking up that mantle of leadership for a second time, then after which, well, we just hope that the young ones will come in. But of course, after the election that took place last year in 2023, what happened? Whom did he bestow upon Nigerians as a leader? Well, your guess is as good as mine. We have Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is not even a youth, perhaps have gone above 60 years, and is still ruling Nigeria as a president of the country. Will we ever have a young person that will emerge as president within the brim of his youth? Well, it's quite unfortunate that that might not happen anytime soon, given the kind of political structure and atmosphere that we have today. But of course, you all know that it's easier, looking at it from that bill, for a donkey to pass through the eye of a needle than allow a young person within the brim of his youth. to rule the country. Well, that's one of the stories I did like to share with you. kudos to the Senegalese government who have allowed the youth to take up the mantle of leadership to steer the country into, an economic growth. Well, we also have on the news too the insecurity going on, especially in the I call it the northeast, especially in Kaduna State, where we had just the release of children who have been kidnapped by bandits in the last 2 weeks, but of course their release have been secured. But the question still in the lips of Nigerians are how about the criminals? What would be done, especially making sure that justice for these children is not just served but seen to be served? Will we ever see these persons in their real identity being paraded on media? Will we ever see a situation where they will be arraigned in court, at least have a day in court where they will be tried, based on whatever that has been charged upon them in terms of terrorism act, and of course being sentenced to prison so as to serve as a deterrent to those who might likely be thinking of going into such. We also heard about the story of the Binance executive who perhaps escaped from detention, and no one knows his whereabouts at this point. What will the world see Nigeria as? Will we not be seen as a mockery to the state or to the rest of the communities globally looking at it? Because it doesn't make any sense. Someone who is in your custody and suddenly you tell the whole world that he has escaped from your custody. How did it happen? Who are the accomplices? Has money exchanged hands to have aided these guys exit out of the country? These are some of the questions begging for answers. And of course, you're welcome to participate by, sharing your comment with us right on the comment section on our social at Ibrand_TV. You can also reach out to me. Let's have a chat on Frenzy_on TV so we can get to hear your views on this. Well, the program continues shortly after this time. We'll be bringing you more interesting stories on our news update. Please don't go nowhere.
Independent TV producer with creative vision and a passion for storytelling? Do you have visual content such as sitcoms, talk shows, dramas, lifestyle shows, reality shows, kiddie shows that are unique and deserve to be seen and heard?
Seize this golden opportunity Ibrandtv is willing to give you to brandish your content on a veritable platform.
Captivate your target audience. We serve you with the perfect canvas to paint a story for the world to see.
Send an email to programs@ibrandtv.com or call 0810 5125 280. You can also visit us at Palais Agro Plaza, 12 Olubora Road by First Weather Bus Stop after Westgate Mall, Isheri Olubora Ojodu Berger.
Thank you so much for staying with us, and of course it's about time for us to bring you up to speed with our latest news stories. And on the front page we have President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has appointed Major General Adamu Garba Laka as the new national coordinator of the National Counter-Terrorism Center under the office of the National Security Advisor, NSA. Tinubu also appointed DIG Johnson Babatunde Kokumo, retired, as the new coordinator of the National Center of the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons, which also is under the office of the NSA. The two appointments were announced Tuesday evening in separate statements by Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ngalale. General Garba Laka and DIG Kokumo served the country in various capacities at different times. A militant group, a Magbian force suspected to have killed the 17 military personnel at Okwama Delta State on March 14, has demanded that the federal government hands over waterway security to the group. A member of the group in a trending video today said he was speaking for his leader, a Magbian, the River Lord. The army had since identified a Magbian as the mastermind of the March 12 slaughter of its men and tracked him to Igbomoturu community in the southern Ijaw local government area, Bayelsa State, last week, but did not find him. A Magbian who banished the royal father of Igbomoturu from his throne is currently on the run. The bearded member, who wore a singlet and tying a white band round his head, said a Magbian is from the same lineage with the Ijaw revolutionary leader, the late Isaac Adakaboro. The Zamfara State Governor, Dauda Lawal, has lamented that the state is under the siege of banditry, pleading with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to come to the aid of the state. The governor said that the state is becoming something else as a result of frequent attacks by bandits in the last few days and called for more presence of the military. Governor Lawal disclosed this while briefing State House correspondent after meeting behind closed doors with the president. He said that he came to the seat of power to brief President Tinubu on the security situation in the state, stressing that if nothing is done to arrest the situation, the whole of the northern part of the country will be in trouble. Lawal, who said that the state has become an epicenter of banditry and had recently recorded several cases of banditry attack in a few local governments, despite all efforts the state government is exploring to end the criminal activities of the bandits in the states. The governor said that he requested more military personnel as well as the equipment that will enable the officers to function effectively enough to tackle the current security situation in the state. In a startling revelation, the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN Governor Yemi Cardoso has disclosed that the law enforcement agency are investigating foreign exchange forward valued at approximately $2.4 billion. Cardoso noted that these transactions are deemed ineligible for payment. This disclosure emerged after the Monetary Policy Committee meeting held in Abuja on Tuesday, March 26. The CBN governor shed light on the meticulous forensic audit conducted in these transactions, uncovering numerous discrepancies and rendering them invalid. The CBN, upon settling certain tranches of FX backlog, encountered transactions marred by various concerning their authenticity. Addressing the concern about potential backlog among stakeholders, Cardoso assured that the market remains open and transparent for them to address any outstanding control obligation. However, the CBN has diligently verified and settled recognized backlog of forward transactions. Well, that's our news update this morning, and up next will be the newspaper review. Please do stay with us.
Benjedon is a Moroccan banker, billionaire businessman. He is known for co-founding of BMCE Bank and Bank of Africa and serves as its chairman and chief.
Are you an independent TV producer with creative vision and a passion for storytelling? Do you have visual content such as sitcoms, talk shows, dramas, lifestyle shows, reality shows, kiddie shows that are unique and deserve to be seen and heard?
Seize this golden opportunity Ibrandtv is willing to give you to brandish your content on a veritable platform.
Captivate your target audience. We serve you with the perfect canvas to paint a story for the world to see.
Send an email to programs@ibrandtv.com or call 0810-5125-280. You can also visit us at Palais Agro Plaza, 12 Olubora Road by First Weather Bus Stop after Westgate Mall, Isheri Olubora Ojodu Berger.
All right, thank you so much for staying with us. Let's take you through our newspaper review this morning. And of course, starting with is the Nation newspaper. On the front page, we have My State's epic center of kidnapping and banditry, and that can be attributed to the governor of Kaduna State. Let's take the rider. Lawa seeks full military action to stop bandits. Kidnappers should be treated as terrorists. Military frees 230 Boko Haram suspects. And of course, let's go to the top strip. Troops raid Clark's home in search of soldiers' killers. Details on page 3. NACON in talks with Saudi authorities over Hajj visa shortage. Details on page 3. PDP to review party leadership in World's Council and of course 26 states. Details on page 3. Adams Ighodalo face-off deepens despite Oni's peace move. Details on page 4. We'll come down a little bit. We have 16 excluded Plateau Assembly APC lawmakers seek president's intervention. Details on page 2. And of course, finally, at the bottom end there, we have all set for Labour Party convention. Details on page 2. Lagos to experience above normal rainfall. Details on page 26. Now we make progress to the Punch newspaper. And on the front page, we have CBN EFCC probe banks, firms over alleged forex racketeering. Now to the rider. CBN implements Deloitte FX audit report. EFCC may summon CEOs over $2.4 billion invalid requests. Several FX requests fraudulent, made with invalid illegal document, Cardoso insists. You can find details of this story on page 2. Now we'll go to the top strip. Tinubu to vet Foreign Affairs Ministry's ambassadorial list. Details on page 7. NCC insists on SIM NIN deadline. Telco bars lines Friday. Details on page 22. Unemployment responsible for rising banditry and of course kidnapping, and that's coming from former President Olusegun Obasanjo. Underneath that story, we have 24.75% interest rate OPS fears higher inflation, massive job loss. Details on page 21. Then we come down a little bit. We have 6 missing, 2 rescued as U.S. cargo ship destroys Baltimore Bridge. Quite unfortunate there. And we have on assassination allegation, my voice not distorted, says Gani Adams. Details on page 30. Mom orders hail death sentence in Chinese for killing lover. Details on page 4 and 5 respectively. And finally, we have slain soldiers for burial today. Military demands killers capture. Details on page 30. All right, we make progress to the Vanguard newspaper, and on the front page still talking about the Okwama killing, how government security bodies fail to rein in military leader. Of course, it's still an investigative exercise. But then let's take the rider. Says, I petitioned presidency, state government, security bodies not, to no avail. I take that again. I petitioned presidency, state government, security bodies to no avail. And that statement can be attributed to His Royal Majesty of Fongo. All right. Tropes knew where the killers was and went there. Monarch forced to take oath of allegiance to military leader. Diri Sylvia in verbal war. Of course, we have military leaders dismisses JTF's allegation of the involvement in bunkering. Delta communities cries out as soldiers comb homes. Shrine for stolen weapons. Troops seize 12 local vigilante guns. Tinubu to attend today's burial of slain 17 soldiers. Soldiers invaded my country home at Kiagbodmo. And that statement can be attributed to Edwin Clark. You can find details of that story on page 12, and of course the headline story on page 5. Now we'll go to the top strip. CBN raises interest rates to 24.75%, insists all verified FX backlog cleared. Details on page 19. Omehia was never governor of Rivers, court rules. Details on page 12. And on Binance, collaboration with SEC, EFCC, NSA fruitful, and that's coming from the CBN governor. All right, we take other stories. NSE president cheers Vanguard, IWD as Okotete, Osafeli, Ambrose, Medeben, others attend. Details on page 10. And on banditry, Zamfara under siege, Governor Lawa tells Tinubu. Details on page 30. All right, we'll come down a little bit on the big story there. Kuka to federal government. Interrogate persons with ties to bandits. You can find details of that story on page 9. No cause for alarm, says Gumi after questioning by security agents. All right, Kingmakers boycott meeting over Olubadan, designates absence. Details on page 10. On Mambila project, we have firm vows to deliver 3,050 megawatt hydropower project. Details on page 11. And a bit on the sports scene, we have Nigeria can host Commonwealth Games successfully, and that's coming from Eno Boast. Details on page 39. Now we make progress to the next newspaper on the line, and then we have the Daily Trust newspaper, and on the front page we have 60 hours after Kuriga students yet to reunite with families. This is quite worrisome. Well, we'll take the rider. We are eager to have them back home, and that's coming from the parents of the abducted kids. They are under psychotherapy, and that's coming from the governor of that state. Submission of 2 lists responsible for 287 figure. And of course, that statement can be attributed to residents. Bandit kingpin Yellow Jambros behind abduction. Details on page 4. Now we'll go to the top strip. We must treat kidnappers as terrorists. And that statement is from the President, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. 17 slain soldiers for burial in Abuja today. Details on page 6. And then we have Kano governor nominates Kwankwaso's son, sacked commissioner for cabinet appointment. Details on page 10. Then we'll come down to the left corner where we have IPOP funding terrorism through sports betting platforms, crowdfunding. And that's coming from the federal government. Details on page 6. Right, we have more stories. Chinese sentenced to death for killing Nigerian girlfriend in Kano. Details on page 16. And a statement from Gumi says, I discussed how to curb banditry with security agencies. Details on page 23. Now at the bottom end there we have a big story. Amid soaring inflation, CBN raises benchmark lending rate to 24.7%. And of course, uncovers $2.4 billion forex scam. Decision putting pressure on banks, and that's coming from Expert. And finally, BDC rate appreciates to 1,304 naira to the US dollar. Details on page 3. All right, now we'll make progress to the Tribune, the Nigerian Tribune. And on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, we have cost of borrowing to rise. A CBN raises benchmark interest to 24.75%. Can also say it's $2.4 billion forex forward backlog ineligible for payments. Now we'll go to the top strip. Ayedatiwa, APC others mourn as governorship aspirant Akintelure dies at 61. Aborigines group demands investigation into sudden death. Details on page 4. While we have not yet nominated Olakunlehin as new Olubadan, and that's coming from Kingmaker. Details on page 3. On Plateau, we have 16 APC lawmakers, 60 numbers intervention. Details on page 13. And on the left corner, we have on the Delta case, we have slain soldiers to be buried today. Details on page 2. Pay Hajj fares based on dollar exchange rate, NACON tells pilgrims. Details on page 3. Celebrating Africa's heritage, empowering local artisans, central to our mission. That statement is coming from Fumilayo Grace Oni, the Frasen Deloitte CEO. Details of that story can be found on page 22. Lagos Ogun to experience high rainfall, strong winds, and that's coming from the governor. Details on page 30. And finally, we have Gani Adams speaks on face-off with Ighodalo, Shomolu's chief of staff. Of course, that story you can find on page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune. And finally, on the Business Day newspaper, on the front page, we have CBN hikes rate again in push to tame inflation. That's the big story. Raises merchant banks CRR to 14%, 600 PB increase enough to attract foreign investments or investors, and that story can be attributed to analysts. Of course, we have other stories on the right corner there. Airfares crash on international routes over FX, Air Peace debut. Of course, you can find details of that story on the front page of the newspaper, the Business Day. And of course, we have President Tinubu did not foresee the enormity of Nigeria's challenges, and that's coming from Bayo Onunuga. Details on page 16 and 17 respectively. And finally, we have Beyond the Podium, lessons from the 2023 African Game. Details of that story at the back page of the Business Day. Now let us have a review proper on the front page of the newspapers. Okay. All right, we are told to make progress as we will be going straight ahead now to our discussion segment, which will be coming shortly after this time on. Please do stay with us.
Without doubt, you have used several cooking oils before, but one thing is sure, you have never experienced true soya oil. This is not your regular cooking oil, it is a cooking oil with soul. From our quality ingredient selection to blending, extraction and packaging, we took time to think about your health. Besides giving you a delicious experience, true soya oil boosts your immune system, aids your digestive health, and improves your overall well-being. For inquiries, mouth-watering recipes, and more, connect with us on social media. True soya oil. Make the choice that keeps you and your loved ones healthy.
What is your name? I told him my African name, Raholislan. He says, no, I don't want that one. You must have a Christian name. So I say, no, I don't have one. She says, from today, you are going to be Nelson.
South Africa is a country of many races. There is room for all the various races in this country.
Nelson Mandela, born on July 18, 1918 in South Africa, was a prominent leader and a symbol of the struggle against apartheid. His life's work and accomplishments have left an indelible mark on the world. Mandela's most notable achievement was his role in dismantling the apartheid system, which enforced racial segregation and discrimination in South Africa. After spending 27 years in prison for his political activity, he emerged as a unifying figure advocating for reconciliation and promoting the peaceful transition to democratic South Africa. Mandela's family played an essential role in his life. He was married 3 times, and his most well-known and enduring marriage to Winnie Madikizela Mandela stood as a symbol of resistance during his imprisonment. However, their marriage faced challenges and eventually ended in divorce. Mandela's political power stemmed from his charisma, determination, and unwavering commitments to justice and equality. He co-founded the African National Congress, Youth League, and later became the president of the ANC, leading the organization in its fight against apartheid.
That the task of the ANC was to unite the African people and out of them build a nation.
Mandela's presidency from 1994 to 1999 was characterized by efforts to reconcile a divided nation, promote social justice, and combat poverty. He was awarded the Nobel Prize in 1993 for his tireless efforts to dismantle apartheid peacefully. Mandela's life and philosophy serves as an inspiration to people worldwide, reminding us of the power of forgiveness, reconciliation, and the pursuit of justice. He will forever be cherished as a testament to the strength of human spirit and the ability to overcome immense challenges for the greater good.
Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, born 13 June 1954. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, GCON, is a Nigerian economist who has been serving as the Director General of the World Trade Organization since March 2021. Notably, she is the first woman and first African to lead the World Trade Organization as Director General. Okonjo-Iweala served twice as Nigeria's finance minister from 2003 to 2006 and 2011 to 2015, and briefly as foreign minister, the first woman to hold both positions. Her achievements as finance minister garnered international recognition for improving Nigeria's financial stability and fostering greater fiscal transparency to combat corruption. In October 2005, she led the Nigerian team that negotiated the cancellation of 60% of Nigeria's external debts with the Paris Club. The debt deal also included an innovative buyback mechanism that wiped out.
All right, thank you so much for staying with us. Now let's move you straight into our discussion segment for today. The Office of the National Security Advisor on Monday confirmed that Nadeem Anjarwalla, a suspect in the ongoing criminal probe into the activities of Binance in Nigeria, has escaped from lawful custody. The head of strategic communication at the Office of the National Security Advisor, Sakari Mijinyawa, said Mr. Anjarwalla escaped on Friday, 22 March. Confirming the development in a statement, the head strategic communication, Zakari Mijinyawa, said a preliminary investigation showed that Anjarwalla fled Nigeria using a smuggled passport. He noted that efforts were ongoing to arrest the suspect. To have this conversation with us this morning is our guest, Mr. Matthew Oluko. He is a public affairs analyst. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, thank you for having me.
Now, this issue about the sudden escape of the Binance executive, what's your view on that, first of all?
I think to start with, it's a national embarrassment. It's a national embarrassment because we are looking at a situation where a high-profile case of that nature, though I'm not pronouncing the man guilty, because I understand that in our legal jurisprudence, one is innocent until proven otherwise by a court of competent jurisdiction. But it is understandable that the government, particularly the office of the NSC, should have known the seriousness involved, particularly as the activities that has been alleged for which investigation is ongoing has to do with maybe terrorism financing and all that. I understand that they were made to forward to maybe EFCC. I think it has to do with 100 top transactions with the platform involving Nigerians. So I think it should have been given the seriousness it deserves. I think there was negligence or perhaps dereliction of duty on the part of Nigerians who were saddled with the responsibility of keeping him in custody. It's quite unfortunate.
All right. So when you said it's a national embarrassment, it's quite understandable. But then again, considering the issue about pronouncing one guilty is until when proven otherwise, especially when you look at closely with issues that has to do with one being alleged on a crime, until otherwise proven, the person remains innocent. But then again, let's even look at it from this angle. Why should he be arrested first before investigation commences? Is it supposed to be an arrest first before investigation commences, or the right bodies would have done their due diligence in making sure that all investigations concerning this particular entity called Binance, and of course its executive directors, are already concluded before he's being arrested and then tried by court? Why should it be, first of all, he being arrested and then the commence investigation? Why do we have to take a step backward before we take a step forward?
I don't think the government did anything wrong. But we understand that even the man in question was not in Nigeria.
But he was lured, according to information we gathered.
Pardon?
He was lured.
No, it's not about being lured.
Okay.
I think it is at the instance of suspending activities of Binance in Nigeria that man flew in. I think there were two that came in. So if you look at the escaping, the manner of which the man escaped from Nigeria, you need to see that Nigerian government and Nigerian agency that arrested him, they were right. And don't forget that they were a valid court order that said the man should be in custody for 14 days. So it was during these 14 days that he escaped from custody. But what I'm saying is, I think heads must roll.
First of
Mr. President need to step in and look at who failed in his responsibility to keep this man in custody.
We're going to go deeper into this discussion, but first of all, the issue why he was invited, was it to be detained? Was it to be for him to be detained afterwards?
He was not invited. He came and perhaps he wanted to see whether he could resolve differences with Nigerian government.
And ended up being detained.
Nigerian government, no, there's nothing wrong with detaining anybody.
Against his own will? It's
not about against his will. There was a valid court order. Because, according to government, the information at their disposal, we may not be privy to some level of classified information.
Yeah.
But we understand that the issue of terrorism financing is involved in the investigation. And I think it's a serious offense, a serious issue, considering the nature of Nigeria. We cannot forget in a hurry the abduction of school children in Kaduna State. Happily, they have been released. So if there is any midway in terms of information on how terrorism is being financed, and government want to get at it, I think they are in the right direction.
Okay, but then let us look at it from a business point of view, because obviously before now, the banks also have been complicit in some areas, especially looking at where transfers are being made from, especially looking at it from the local banks to pay for ransom cases. Now, why is it that it has now shifted from the local banks to Binance? Hold on a bit, that's where I'm going, because it's going to have some kind of detrimental effects on businesses that have their spread outside the shores of this country. I'm talking about multinationals.
Let's get it right. I don't think government have intention of criminalizing Nigerians who paid ransom. I think what perhaps they want to achieve is, if you are paying someone, the man who is receiving from the other end, they may have his data. And that will help government in getting at whoever is on the other end of the transaction. I'm talking in terms of receiving end. So I don't think the intention of the government is to penalize Nigerians who pay ransom. Because I think the government should, even as there is a law criminalizing ransom paying, but I think the government should understand the precarious situation Nigerians find themselves. Either they are kidnapped. So I don't think the intention of the government is to witch hunt anybody or to maybe start getting an Nigerians who pay ransom.
So what is the idea behind asking Binance to produce 100 top users of their platform, knowing fully well that Nigerians are heavily invested on trading, especially on that particular platform?
Don't forget that nobody is have indicted Binance. Don't forget that nobody have investigated Binance.
But they have been alleged.
I'm coming. It is not out of place, because if you come into a country to do business, Nigeria they have their own laws. You as a foreign investor, it is incumbent on you to comply with all Nigerians' regulation, policies, and their laws. So I think the reason they requested for those transactions is to ensure whether they actually the activities complied with Nigerian Eastern laws. I don't think there's anything wrong in that.
All right, so let's talk about his escape now. How did it happen that someone who was in the custody of the right authority, I'm talking about the NSA, now discovers that this person is no longer within their custody? How did it happen?
And that's why I say heads must rule. Because whether I would like it or not, though the office of NSA have explained that some persons have been arrested and investigation is ongoing, but let us know, because we understand that from the information from the government that he escaped Nigeria with a smuggled passport. So let the investigation be important to ascertain who did what. How did he get the passport he used in escaping Nigeria? I understand that he have a dual citizenship, or rather passport of Kenya and Britain. And I think Nigeria have a extradition treaty with Britain. But I doubt if we have any treaty of such with Kenya. But even at that, if you want to extradite a fugitive, this is not a Nigerian, and you need to argue in their own court. to justify the reason you are bringing him. So it's another thing to see whether a British court will want to hand over their citizens to Nigeria for prosecution, irrespective of the justification behind Nigerians' intention.
Okay, so before we talk about what means he used in fleeing out of this country, especially looking at it from a smuggled passport that has been alleged, let's look at it from the aspect of the prison yard. How did he leave that particular spot before taking off? And which route did he actually go through? Is it through the border? Did he go through the air? How did he go away from this prison yard that no one got to know?
It is not clear whether he was in DSS facility, police facility.
But he was actually detained?
Yes, but there is no verified report about what I read that he was kept in a guest house. It's not verified. I cannot totally rely on it. And even if that was the case, I don't think it's out of place. What was lacking is the ability of the people who were in charge to keep their eyes on the ball. So for me, I think such place where he was detained needed to have some closed circuit television. I'm talking about CCTV.
Yes.
So when things like this happen, you can fall back and get the footage of what actually transpired. Even while the man was in detention, was in custody, all the arrangement proceeding before he escaped. If there's camera coverage, I think it would have exposed a whole lot of activities that led to his escape.
But let's even assume that we don't have such closed circuit cameras in such facility. Do you think that it is out of place not to in any way include the prison warders in this case, especially when it comes to investigation as regards his escape?
It's not clear whether he was kept in custody of prison warders. It's not clear. The government, maybe for reasons, security reasons, they may not want to divulge some information to the public. But to the much we understand, some persons were in charge of that custody. And the government have said they are already in detention. But what we are demanding is that let the persons who failed their responsibility to keep him in custody be prosecuted.
Do you think it is transparent and, looking at it from accountability on the part of the government to have held this information back from the public after days of confirming his escape, especially looking at it from those who might have been saddled with the responsibility of keeping these guys in his custody, in their custody?
If you jeopardize the investigation, I don't think it's good for you to divulge it to the public. Of what purpose will it serve in the public domain? I don't think that's the issue. I think what is the major problem is let us know whether there was compromise. And if there's compromise, I think our laws will have ways of dealing with such.
Do you think this will not be a case of talking about it for a while in the media and then they sweep the case under the carpet and we'll move on?
That is why we are harping on it, so that the government will do the needful.
Okay, now let's look at how we can be able to secure his release. The Nigerian government has given us information that the Interpol and other stakeholders will be engaged in making sure that he is rearrested. How possible could this be? Looking at it from our other international laws that might be protecting this particular person.
I think rearresting him is going to be a Herculean task.
You think so?
Yes, it's going to be a Herculean task because for such person, I think he should know the right thing to do. I wouldn't say the right thing anyway. He will know the best thing for him, the best thing to do to escape arrest. Because we are looking at somebody of that category that would have known relationship between Nigeria and some countries. He may even decide not to stay in Britain since he understands that Nigeria have existing extradition treaty with Britain. He may decide to go to a country that has some level of diplomatic row with Nigeria. By so doing,
they frustrate every process.
The possibility of even extraditing him would not be there. So it's a very serious, terrible situation. It's unlikely that, unfortunately, it's unlikely that he will be rearrested.
All right, so let's look at security issues generally besieging us as a country. We just heard about the governor crying out, especially when he went to visit the president, that the state is totally porous when it comes to security issues. Now, what do you think needs to be done?
Which are the states?
The Plateau State and, of course, Kaduna, because we've just heard about stories emanating from that particular region. Now, and of course, Benue, not to also leave that out. But then, let's look at it from a holistic point of view. Do you think it is appropriate at this time to tag the bandits as a terror group? Do you think it's appropriate, or do you think it's coming rather too late?
I think even under Muhammadu Buhari, some bandit organizations, or how do I call them, were already designated as terrorist organizations.
Which of the organizations? Which of the?
I think Ansaru is one of them.
Okay.
But the point I'm trying to make in essence is this.
How about Boko Haram?
No, Boko Haram had long been designated as a terrorist organization.
Okay.
The point I'm trying to make is this. If you see the activity of an organization, you can clearly know whether what they do pretend terrorist in nature. So it's not about, there's every justification to designate most of these bandit organizations are terror groups. You cannot want to explain. I've seen some videos that is making the round where it's better imagined than explained. You see students being subjected to trauma of gunshots just for no offense they committed. It's not as if they committed any offense. So for me, the bandits, call them bandits, call them whatever name they go by, call them non-state actors, as long as the activities are have the semblance of terrorism. I don't think the government should waste time in declaring them as terrorist organizations. Before
now, we heard about U.S. support, especially looking at it from the immediate past administration, of helping Nigerians curb insecurity, especially from the northeast. And we saw the body language of the president, the previous past president, of not pronouncing some of these guys, the bandit terrorists or your terrorist group. Why do you think it took us this long for us to see President Bola Ahmed Tinubu coming out now to say that these guys at this point should be tagged as a terrorist group?
I don't know what you mean by taking too long, because even the former administration of Muhammadu Buhari foot dragged.
I'm saying this because it didn't take them too long to prescribe IPOP a terror group, right? So why is it taking this long for a known group going about in brigandry to be called a terror group, knowing the level of havoc and destruction they've had both on human life and on business?
I did not speak for Muhammadu Buhari. Maybe you'll find a way of getting him to, maybe he's one of his handlers to address that. I don't know the reason they tarried so long in doing the needful. Okay. But I will agree with you that they didn't do it on time.
Okay, now that Bola Tinubu has made that statement that such should be tagged as a terror group, do you think it's just a mere rhetoric, just to make sure that certain persons within the southern region are being appeased?
No, I don't think so.
Or what do you think? Do you see any action taking effect? No,
let us not even get it wrong. I don't think the government is currently in the process of designating any group a terrorist organization. What I understand is that I think the chairman of Mietiala is on trial, maybe for terrorism-related offense. It's an allegation, because you don't have right to indict anyone until court makes a pronouncement. But I think the government is doing the right thing, because if you accuse someone and you are putting him on trial, you are not saying the person have done that thing until the court makes a pronouncement. And I think there have been so much accusation against such persons that the government need to bring them to answer some questions. So I think the government is doing the right thing.
So one of those that have just been invited to answer questions, I'm talking about Gumi, has come out to say that, well, he's been invited is to give the security agencies advisory, counsel as regards how to deal with insurgency. Do you think that is the case?
We're not privy to what was discussed. According to information in the public domain, that they had conversation. But what I can understand is, if government has sufficient evidence against any individual, I encourage government to put the person on trial.
So what do you think could be the likelihood of future event, looking at it from the angle of, yes, these guys should be prescribed as a terror group? What are we likely to see, especially from the body language of the president and, of course, from our military?
The body language of this current president shows that he wants to fight insurgency. That is the truth. But for the first time, we're even seeing that the Sheikh Gumi of a person you just mentioned was invited by the government to give explanation on some issues. For the first time, we saw that what looked like the almighty Mietiala chairman was invited by DSS, and as we speak, he's having his day in court. He's going to have his day in court. So I think the government, if you ask me, the body language of this government show that they want to deal with that monster of insurgency.
Now, looking at it from the angle of how the military has recently, recorded, some level of damage and, of course, losses, looking at it from a human standpoint, the lives that have been lost just recently, do you think that morale is still there to be able to wage this war against these non-state actors?
It's quite unfortunate, but there's always a way to rekindle such morale, because there is already new leadership, and as we speak, all the service chiefs, we have new service chiefs.
Yes.
And I think for now, there's no cause for alarm to start thinking that their morals have been dampened.
Why do you think so?
Because except for some issues like the one that happened in Delta State, in the Northeast, we are not hearing the issue of ambushing of Nigerian military personnel the way we used to hear. So it shows that perhaps they are changing strategy and it's paying off.
Do you think that this militant group, I'm talking about Amagbian force, who have been linked to the killings of these military men, do you think that he's been given some level of cover, especially looking at it from his locals, the traditional rulers and all of that? Do you think
I'm not privy to such information, so I may not be able to speak extensively on that. I'm not privy to
What do you think the army needs to do now to move into those territories, to make sure that they comb every nook and cranny to make sure that this guy is brought to book, considering the image he's having on the Nigerian army, both locally and, of course, outside the shores of this country?
What the military need to do is to possess monopoly of coercive power.
How do they do that?
By acquiring, by fighting through technology, getting more military hardware. But even as they do all this, I think they should remember that there is rule of engagement. Because we understand that in Nigeria, both locally and internationally, collective punishment is a serious offense. And if there in any way there is issue that has to do maybe in the course of trying to get at the perpetrators of those that at innocent citizens are made to suffer, I don't think it speaks well of professionalism when it comes to our military. So I think where the military goes about getting at those corporates, I think it's incumbent of them to play by the rule. When I mean play by the rule of engagement, so that innocent citizens will be protected.
Why I'm saying this is because you don't expect the army to feel happy that one of theirs...
It's not just the army. Personally, I'm not happy.
Good. So why I'm saying this because we need to understand that a strong message needs to be sent out there. Boko Haram and other, insurgent groups are also putting their ears on the ground to see if we'll ever get to the end of this. And if that is not achieved, it means that they will be emboldened. Don't you think so?
No, you see, there are so many strategies to do this. We have the DSS. Even the police, you see, they have the surveillance unit. That is saddle responsibility of mixing up with the society, that the consent of the society, just for the purpose of investigation. The man who is coming for such information may not be the one that will do the arrest. So what I'm saying is the government should do everything within the ambit of the law in getting the culprits and bring them to justice.
So these men who have just fallen, our fallen soldiers, will be laid to rest in Abuja. What do you think needs to be done to make sure that the family, because obviously it has always been the case, as some have said, I don't know how true it is, that the moment, sort breadwinners who are, in the military falls, then they are being evicted from the barracks. What do you think needs to be done to these families, especially considering that the fact that their loved one died in the line of battle?
First of all, I think our constitution, our laws already have provision for compensation when things like this happen. It's quite unfortunate. There is no amount of money, compensation that is incommensurate with the loss we have seen. But however, I think the government should not delay in allowing them to get all the due benefits. And if need be, Mr. President should even give more benefit to the families of the those families that suffer this casualty, because we understand that they would have leave loved ones behind with a lot of responsibility and bills to pay. So the government should ensure that the people they leave behind will not suffer their absence.
Talking about the rules of engagement once again, do you think the army did right by invading the home of one of the Ijaw leaders? I'm talking about Edwin Clark, who mentioned that his home and his privacy has been, invaded, so to speak.
I'm not aware that the home of Edwin Clark have been.
It was on the papers.
I'm not aware.
So how about the homes of other people who are also reacting that they are no longer safe, considering the fact that the army now is making sure that they get this guy, arrested by searching homes and villages and towns within that area to make sure that they spot it? Do you think they are going well within their rights, considering
I've said it before, but engagement? I've said it before, but for the purpose of emphasis, let me repeat it.
All right.
That the military should not leave any stone unturned in getting the culprits. But while they do it, they should remember that collective punishment is a serious offense, both locally and internationally, and that they should strive to protect innocent citizens in those localities.
Thank you so much, Mr. Matthew Oluko, for sharing your time with us this morning. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll be going for a short break now, and when we return, we'll bring you more on this story. Thank you.
Independent TV producer with creative vision and a passion for storytelling? Do you have visual content such as sitcoms, talk shows, dramas, lifestyle shows, reality shows, kiddie shows that are unique and deserve to be seen and heard?
Seize this golden opportunity Ibrandtv is willing to give you to brandish your content on a veritable platform.
Captivate your target audience. We serve you with the perfect canvas to paint a story for the world to see.
Send an email to programs@ibrandtv.com or call 0810-5125-280. You can also visit us at Palais Agro Plaza, 12 Olubora Road by First Weather Bus Stop after Westgate Mall, Isheri Olubora Ojodu Berger.
All right, thank you so much for staying with us. It's about time for us now to delve into what the market is about, and that's what we call market trend. And we'll be looking at yam, and of course, how much it is in the market, and of course, what you can actually benefit from it. Okay, so let's go into the market now to find out more about yam.
In a surprising turn of event, the holy month of Ramadan has not affected the cost of staple food items in Nigeria. Instead, it has brought about a significant decrease in demand due to prevailing hardships. Despite the usual anticipation of price hike during Ramadan, the cost of essential food items has remained the way it was before the Ramadan. Speaking with traders at the yam section in Mile 12 market, who confirmed that Ramadan had no significance in the hike of food prices because the prices of food items have never been stable.
If you can watch in the market now, as people are feeling there here before, they're no longer like that again because of the Ramadan. Yes, you can see people, a lot of people, multitude, they are entering market before, but it's no longer like that again. It's in the high price, people want to buy. They want to buy so that then we'll be surviving the Ramadan, but now there are no of that because of increasement of the food.
Everything, even Ramadan he come. Everything, inshallah, we know that everything will go calm down. We are expecting like that.
Ramadan know the sell market now, and then know the farm. Now woman be the farm, now the woman be the sell. No be say because Ramadan dey, no be say Christian self dey for Lent. No be say that's why. By this time before when we fast day, everything go cheap. Yam dey cheap. Oh, if you go up, we go come down. But now it just they go up every day by day. If you buy 2,000 today, tomorrow go be 2,500. If you buy 2,500 today, next tomorrow go be 3,000. It's too much. And then you say fuel supporter, make it pity us. Make God no go let us die for suffer.
Many people now, they chop. Say before we starting to fasting, market they move. So now market don't stop. Yeah, they chop. Maybe the thing other should be come down. So I don't know. But even now they no cheap. This one where with the price, I price this one 190,000. They no agree. Say me I complete and 200,000. They can't for me. So I know people buy because the thing they high now. Some people know they buy. Even people when they come from inside Lagos, they come. Now small people. It was as the market they open, you go see many women they don't put the market. Yeah, no woman where they come by, no people there.
Government is supposed to get in home market where people go get cheaper price. Government can do better for the people to open the market to the people to make better price. If we market people sell higher, the price of the thing now the fuel to carry the load from Benin, from Saraba, from Kwara, from everywhere. The thing then they carry 200 naira now it be 10,000. Because of that, it's not good. The government to have a market, government market, is there for 12 local government before the time of Mutala take over. We have 12 local government for Lagos. And they have where you can, government you have the land to open market for everywhere. You have security. Like the one them do last time, they said the bag of rice they sell at 10,000. That is not a good government is not supposed to do like that. I can do the correction for them. If the government want to do that, come for the barrack, for police barrack, come for soldier barrack, come buy your market, nobody go kill each other. You go take your thing out. Among the government, you don't want to help the people. If the government want to help the people, bring them to army barrack, police barrack. Like this my 12, if we bring it, we can help the people, we can do it for them. Anybody want to buy, you must buy a control price. Now government price, the government price, you must write it for the back of the government.
However, the low demand for staple food during Ramadan has raised concerns about the economic challenges faced by many Nigerians. The ongoing hardship, exacerbated by inflation, has resulted in reduced purchasing power and a decline in consumer spending. Deborah Eze for Ibrandtv.
All right, thank you so much for staying with us. And that's Market Trend here, giving us an analysis about the yam market. And of course, Yam is something we all love to eat, especially from this part of the world. Is either we eat it through swallow or we use it into other kind of supplements, to make sure that we get the nourishment that comes from it. But unfortunately, we might have to be boycotting it for now due to some other issues, based on what we just gathered. Some persons are reacting that could it be the Ramadan fast, perhaps, preventing the supply of this commodity to other areas of the economy, like in Lagos and other parts of the states? Could it be that maybe due to the rising insurgency going on in the northeast, that might be preventing, farmers from going into the farm to, plant these things and of course do the harvesting? Could it be the rising cost of inflation, or maybe the cost of diesel, because obviously these trucks are being powered by diesel to be able to bring it down here? So either of these could be the reason why the yam market seems to be reducing. Some are also attributing it to the fact that the season for it is gradually fast, going, and of course we might not be able to have more of this commodity in the market. But what do you think could be the issue as a result of the shortage of the supply of this particular commodity called yam? Why not share your views with us, on our social media platforms, on Ibrandtv, especially on our YouTube, and of course other platforms like Twitter, and of course Facebook and Instagram. Let's get to feel your plight as regards this. How well do you eat yam, and how much do you eat such kind of nutritious meal, of course, that Nigerians really are passionate about? And let's get your views on this. Well, that's the much we'll be sharing with you right about this time. And of course, the program will be continuing as we'll be introducing the social media boss with the delectable Deborah, who will be joining us shortly after this time out. Please don't go nowhere.
Independent TV producer with creative vision and a passion for storytelling? Do you have visual content such as sitcoms, talk shows, dramas, lifestyle shows, reality shows, kiddie shows that are unique and deserve to be seen and heard?
Seize this golden opportunity Ibrandtv is willing to give you to brandish your content on a veritable platform.
Captivate your target audience. We serve you with the perfect canvas to paint a story for the world to see.
Send an email to programs@ibrandtv.com or call 0810-5125-280. You can also visit us at Palais Agro Plaza, 12 Olubora Road by First Weather Bus Stop after Westgate Mall, Isheri Olubora Ojodu Berger.
Born 26 November 1982, Michael Collins Ajere, known professionally as Don Jazzy, is a Nigerian record producer. He is the founder and the CEO of Maven Records. Don Jazzy was co-owner of the now-defunct Mohit Records record label with The Bunch. Don Jazzy was born in Umuahia, Abia State. He is the son of vocalist Enebeli Ajere and Mrs. Ajere. Don Jazzy found an interest in music early in life, and at the age of 12, he began to play the bass guitar and piano. He also gained knowledge of traditional and percussion instruments. Don Jazzy enrolled in business management and studied at the Ambrose Ali University, Ekpoma, Edo State. Don Jazzy married Michelle Jackson in 2003. He claims they both had issues as a result of his ambitious nature and subsequently divorced about 2 years after the wed. However, he doesn't plan to marry again soon because he fears his love and dedication to music will hurt someone's feelings again. Aside from being a music mogul, Don Jazzy also ventured into the oil and gas business. He has also ventured into the food business with the Jazzy Burger. Don Jazzy net worth stand at an estimated $100 million, making him the second richest musician in Nigerian history.
Without doubt, you have used several cooking oils before, but one thing is sure, you have never experienced true soya oil. This is not your regular cooking oil, it is a cooking oil with soul. From our quality ingredients.
All right, thank you so much for staying with us. It's about time now for us to go into that particular segment you've been waiting for, which is the social media boss. And of course, I have with me the delectable, the brown sugar, as she's fondly called, Deborah Eze. Good morning,
Hi,
Deborah.
Josh. Good morning.
How are you?
Okay, well, you did the Uche line. I wasn't expecting that.
So how are you doing today?
I'm very well. I'm good.
All right.
Even though it's weird that it's just a bit of us here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really do miss Uche, and we really hope she comes back from her vacation.
Of course.
You know, in time.
But the show has to go on.
It has to go on, of course. The show, we can't leave the shrine empty. You know.
All right. So what do you have for us today?
Well, before we actually go into the stories that we have for today, the Very Dark Man saga has been going on for a while. Now, would you call Very Dark Man an activist, or would you call him an agent of chaos? I want to get your perspective.
Agent of chaos. That's
I want to get your perspective.
Well, looking at it from the days of the antecedents is set, looking at it from his emergence, especially into the social media space, I would say that he started well. Yeah, looking at it from the angle of that case he took up, I mean the issue
Calling
of the lady who's into cosmetic
products.
Yeah, we know that should be fighting for social justice, because these persons, including I think his sibling, was also affected. Some of them may not be able to come out to call out or drag these persons who might be involved in formulating of these products. But then again, he veered away into what we should look at as fighting for social justice, or activism, as you call it, into issues that are not really, his concern, or issues that might not really bother so much on social justice. You don't have any business with somebody who might be using her body to get whatever she wants. And you call that social activism. That's not social activism. That's more like being bothered about someone's private business. You should learn to respect people's privacy. And when you have crossed that line, it beholds on the public to call you back and say, no, this is not what you started out with. What can you just keep to your lane and do what we know as social justice, which means people's rights who has been infringed, go and fight for them, because obviously they might not have the voice or they may not have the wherewithal to be able to drag these persons. Fight for such cases, and Nigerians will back you up, but not going into someone's privacy, especially when it has to do with his own way of doing business, and you want to now meddle into it and say you're fighting for social justice. To me, it doesn't make sense.
So the allegations that he made concerning some police officers and top officials, now, would you say it is wrong for the police to actually detain him, or do you think the police are actually in their right to still keep him, you know, in the cell?
It is one thing to allege, it's another thing to prove. If you now leave what you're supposed to be doing and now go into someone's privacy and now calling them or making some sort of allegation, it beholds on the police, is well within their right to invite you for questioning, and if you fail, it's also well within their right to, you know, arrange for an arrest. And perhaps you come forward and substantiate what your claims are. Bring the proof that they've been alleged in such things. And if you cannot be able to do that, you know what it means within the law. That's defamation of character, and of course from the body of the police. So it is well within their right to have done that. Yes. All right.
So you've not answered. Is he an activist or ignorant of chaos? Anyway, you've answered. I'm answering.
Yes, it's softly. I wouldn't just want to say to his face.
Okay.
I wouldn't just want to say to his face, but obviously he has derailed from what we know to be social justice, because we have seen people who have fought for social justice without mentioning their names here on social media boards, and we've seen the fights they are doing, especially with regards to persons who might be involved in cheating, especially their wives cannot be able to speak, some persons who have been abused, you know, within the, you know, the marital circle, and we've seen people who fought for them. These are what we call social justice, but not when you meddle into someone's private business and you say you're doing social justice. It doesn't make any sense.
All right, let's go into the first story for today. And Wale Edun, the Minister of Finance, the Coordinating Minister of the Economy, says the federal government has received a sum of 15 billion yen from the Japanese International Cooperation Agency to support the country's National Agricultural Scheme project. Edun spoke while addressing State House correspondents after the Federal Executive Council meeting yesterday. He said the loan is payable for the period of 30 years with 10 years moratorium and an interest rate of 10%. The minister added that bilateral support will not place any form of financial strain on Nigeria. Now let's take a look at some of the reactions on social media. Now, the first reaction from Henry O, and he said, so the federal government is done with China and then moved to Japan to secure loans? And the reaction said, and yet farmers can't farm because of bandits. You soon tell us what you really took that loan for. And the reaction, we now collect in yen too, just to disguise the total number of dollars collected. And the reaction, they only announce when they secure a loan, but they don't account for how the money is spent. We only hear about it when there is a pardon, loot scandal, and leaked documents. The Nigerian government should keep up the energy. They should in announcing secured loans to also inform us how the funds are distributed. And the reaction from Alexander, and he said, we secure a lot of loans, but we do not have effective budget plans. We rather waste in the funds and go into debt due to embezzlement. And the final reaction said, I wonder if China does not ask Nigerian leaders, what was the last project you used the last money you borrowed for? Josh, how do you react to this?
Yeah, it's not a crime. I've said this on this platform before, for any country to secure loan from wherever donor they get such loans from. China has its own, you know, debt profile. America has their debt profile. UK have their debt profile. These are, you know, first world countries, right? And what they do with their loan or the loan they secure is something we can see, and that's why a lot of us either travel to China to do business or travel to other parts of the world for one reason or the other, because the system is working. Now, there's one thing in going for a loan. You declare how much you've secured. It's another thing for us to see a blueprint as regards what you do with the loan. Someone said, oh, Nigeria is done with China. Obviously, and for now, we don't know of the future. Right about now, China has shut its doors on us. So it means that they're no longer interested in giving us loan, because past loans that they've given us, they never saw anything tangible that we did with it. So it ended up being in a few pockets. And of course, in the news, we heard that they collected loan from China. So China for now might not be giving us loan until future they get to see what we have done with the loans we collected from other countries before they might be obliged to now give us loan. Now, another thing is that you're collecting loan. What is the tangible thing or project you're going to execute with that loan is nothing that we might see in the next few years, because we might just hear, oh, they've collected loan and that's where it ends. Now, the next thing is, how about the insecurity issues? Because if you tell me this loan was given, to you for agricultural purposes, how do you intend to execute project, related to agriculture when you've not, first of all, tackled insecurity? We just read in the news a governor running to the president to cry that he needs help and blah, blah, blah. So imagine you get this money and you pump it into buying mechanized, equipment that will be used for agriculture, and the farmers are not able to go in. Of what purpose? Has it not defeated the purpose for which you got that loan for? So I think the first step should be take care of what you have within before other countries can be willing to give you loan. Because if they give you this loan, don't forget they are watching to see what you're going to do with it. So if after a few weeks you're yet to hit the ground running because you're crying insecurity, then it tells you that they will be looking at you like someone who do not know what he's doing. Because before you go for loan, you must know what you want to do with it. And the environment, is it conducive enough to allow that investment to thrive? That's what we're not looking at.
Right. And that reaction that said, now we are collecting in yen to disguise the number of dollars that we
but you don't expect Japan to give in dollars. They will give you what the currency is.
Right.
To control inflation.
All right. So let's move on to the next story. 44-year-old Bassirou Diomaye Faye has been elected president of Senegal 10 days after he was released from prison. It is the first time in 12 presidential votes held under universal suffrage since Senegal gained independence from France in 1960 that an opposition candidate has won in the first round of voting. Faye's main opponent from the governing coalition, Amadou 62, recognized Faye's win and rang him to offer his congratulations. Now, Faye has promised left-wing Pan-Africanism and to renegotiate gas and oil contract with Senegal due to start production on recently discovered oil and gas reserves last year. He hasn't even gotten to office, and he already has, an head stand. Now, the opposition candidate has never held a nationally elected position and has not yet spoken publicly since the vote, which followed 3 years of unrest and political crisis. Now, let's take a look at some of the reactions on social media. The first reaction from Ibuka said, Obasanjo after prison became president, Buhari after prison became president, Nelson Mandela after prison became president, Bassirou after prison became president, Peter Obi, how far? And that reaction said, wow, that's great, Africa. Africa will rise again from the hands of the old and corrupt politicians. And that reaction said, this is what we need in our continent right now. Young presidents and not all these old men thinking like a baby. And that reaction said, good for Senegal. Here our youth are focused on looting the national cake with the slightest opportunity. And finally, I said it and I'll keep saying it. Our country, people will never want something like this to happen. Josh, I'm very sure you're excited.
Yes, I'm excited because I'm a youth, and that statement from Ibuka, it started well, but towards the end of it, he just messed the whole thing up.
He's just trying to make jokes out of it.
It might just be hilarious. But then, if you look at it critically, yes, this man went to prison. Is it for criminal cases? No, for a just reason. So, if Peter Obi doesn't have any reason to go, will he go and lock himself up in the prison so as to be someone who had, it doesn't make sense. But let's just take it from the fact that he's trying to be hilarious. But looking at it from this guy who just emerged as a president, is something to be, joyful for, because we have never had a situation where the youth in this country are given a place, to be able to govern, especially considering it from the political space. Yes, the youths are doing amazing in other corporate, spheres of life, but when it comes to public governance,
look at Better Edo.
Well, she missed the opportunity given to her anyway, because you start somewhere. It mustn't be at the level of the presidency before you can be able to function and show that potential that a youth should have.
A reaction said that Nigerian youths are only interested in looting the national cake with every slice of opportunity.
That's like painting everyone with the same brush.
Okay.
Because a better Edo misbehaved doesn't mean someone else who perhaps might find himself in that capacity would do such. But then again, he's just trying to look at it from a general view. Okay, this is how the youths who are given little opportunity end up messing it. But it doesn't mean that everyone who gets there would do same. A good example is this guy who came from Senegal. He is a youth, and of course, looking at it from the angle of the youth being the future leaders, they are already making it happen. Reality is already, having its way in Senegal. My question is not about the youth generally. My question is, will we ever be given that opportunity? Before now, I read in the news story that we once had the previous government assent a law, which says that not too young to run. How far would that be? It's just existing in paper. When he was asked after his first term in office into his second term, will you drop? He said, no. Allow me finish my second term, then I'll give room for the youths to come. So, eventually, what happened in 2023 speaks the obvious. We have somebody who is well into his 70s, right?
We're not sure.
We're not even sure. Let me even take it from you. We're not even sure his age. But then again, we know that this person is not anywhere close to his youthful days. So are we saying that that bill, that was signed into law is just a mere rhetoric just to maybe appease the youths, to make them feel a sense of belonging and a sense of self? Because obviously it doesn't make any sense when you sign a bill into law and it doesn't take effect in your own time. Even if it doesn't take effect in your own time, can you pave way so that as you are leaving, someone younger takes up that mantle of leadership and tell Nigerians that, look, we're ready to make things happen in this country?
But do you think, in other developed clans, they don't, use the young or old,
age issue as a parameter. Okay.
Do you even really think that a young person can actually take Nigeria to where we want it to be?
Now, the population of the country is largely dominated by the youth. So you cannot take it away from the fact that the older ones are fast going. So who represents these ones when they leave? Now, with the fact that these guys who are even within the corridors of power are not even giving way for the young to come in, how do we tap into these fresh minds when they are not given an opportunity to have their input in the corridors of power?
But Tinubu actually
look at this guy. Look at this guy. You just said it that he had not even, resumed office,
and he already has a lead down plan of what he wants to do.
And here is somebody. I'm talking about what's the special advisor to the president? What's that guy?
Ajuri?
No. The senior special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Bayo Ononuga. He said it in the papers, giving excuses for Bola Tinubu that he never saw the enormity of what he was going to meet in office. It tells you that these guys know nothing next to leadership, because obviously all they know is vying for that office, but the job of that office, they are totally bereft of it. So it tells you that they were never ready. It was just, let me take power. So after taking power, what next? It's my turn, right?
It is my turn. But
when will it actually be our turn?
It was actually applauded, his ministers. They were actually young minds, young people.
And eventually one of which
actually, she fell our heart. Until now, we don't even know what our fate is. That has actually been swept under the carpet.
So that tells you.
Yeah. So let's move on from the whole politics and Nigeria wahala and have some comic relief. So, a 14-year-old GSS boy has allegedly impregnated 2 girls in Asaba. His soon-to-be baby mamas are in SS1 and SS2 respectively. No, this is actually not funny. A GSS 3 boy has allegedly impregnated 2 girls in Asaba, and his soon-to-be baby mamas are in SS1 and SS2 respectively. And this actually created a buzz, for netizens. Now let's take a look at some of the reactions. The first reaction from Elena, okay, she had 2 reactions actually, and she said, she had like baby mama's day beside her like that. See his strong face. Another reaction said, and what is this crime here? They should get him a job, that's all. Back in the days, he would have been applauded for this. Another reaction said, why they come punish him now? They also said na person papa. And the final reaction said, Omo, Angel Mike, we need you to blow the trumpet. George, you say anything wrong in this?
Do I say anything wrong in it? Man. Before now, we used to know that persons who could impregnate a girl should be above 18. But these days, even 14-year-old are impregnated. And this time around, he didn't even impregnate 1. He took 2. And they are well within their age group. Yeah. In the same.
Not even the same class. SS1 and SS2, different classes.
Yeah, but then what's the difference? I don't know, the same secondary school.
There's a difference.
Okay, now let's even consider the fact that he's a minor. So how would we treat the issue?
Right.
So is it a civil case? If it's a civil case, the family should look at it and see how they can help him to get a job, because what he needs right now is not to reduce him to this level where he has to kneel down. He's a potential father. So he's expectant. So what they need right now is to provide a job for him, so as to be able to cater to, because he already has an enormous responsibility of catering for 2. In fact, not 2, for 4. The wife and
the 2 babies.
So he has 4 mouths to cater to. So they should provide him with a job. That's what he needs now, because obviously he has already taken up responsibility way beyond his age. So what he needs now is something that will help him to take care of them, because obviously this is poverty waiting,
So who is wrong now? Are we going to blame the society? Why I'm asking this is, I was having a conversation with one of my uncles that stays, I think, in the same Asaba or Benin. I can't remember. And he was very angry and said, oh, his 14-year-old niece, she left the house for over a month, and she just came back to the house, and they said she's living with her boyfriend, and they don't see anything wrong with it in that part of the country. 14-year-old girl. Wow. So who do we blame? Because this is not funny. We're just looking at it because he's a boy. If it was to be a 14-year-old girl that got pregnant, we would not be treating it as such.
Sure.
Now, who do we blame? Do we blame the parents? Do we blame the school? Or do we blame the society? Or do we blame the individuals that are actually involved in this? This is actually very scandalous. This is not something we should, hear about. So who do we blame?
Yeah, before you put the blame on the society, we read in school that civilization of a child starts from the home. The very first day the child is born and he starts to see, the first person he sees are his parents. So you need to understand the fact that if a child goes this route, the responsibility of he being put on the track before now rests on the shoulder of the parents. And if they failed to do this, then they have failed in their responsibility as parents to lead the child in the right way. Because obviously, a child at age 14, and just like the analogy you just painted of a
14-year-old
girl who left home. What were the parents doing at the time this girl left home? What steps did they take to go look for her? Did they just leave her and say, okay, she knows what she's doing, she will come back? Because that's the mindset of most parents. We didn't push her out, we didn't beat her, she just left. Okay, she will come back. Perhaps she went to meet with her friends. Is that what a parent should do? Because as a parent, you should know that the responsibility of helping that child succeed in life rests on you up until even 18 and above. Because a parent seems to be a parent even after the child had left home, perhaps, to start taking care of himself. You still be a parent, because the parenting doesn't stop there. You still need to be giving advisory counsel to the child on areas where the child is not experienced, so as to be able to succeed. So you cannot tell me that a child fails today because he has found himself in a situation where it seems like a no coming back, and now you say you want to blame it on the society. Where were the parents at first?
All right, Josh, how do you explain this? Now, we know that children from age 3, I think from age 3 they start school from age 3 to 16. Now they spend most of their time in school, because by 7 you're up already going to school, and you're not back until 4.
That's how many hours?
And you can see the number of hours. And some that actually have to go through extracurricular activities would not be back home until 6.
Okay.
They're spending the almost the whole day in school, and you have barely 4 hours, 3 hours to spend at home. So does it really make sense that the responsibility of training a child falls on the shoulder of the parent?
What happens over the weekend? Do these children go to school?
How many weekends do we have?
Okay,
just
so
have
if,
Saturday and Sunday, compared to 5 other days that you're out.
Okay, so if during the week there isn't so much time, let's even make excuses for both parents and of course the children, that they may not have that time to sit down together to review what they've done each day in school. What happens over the weekend? So that means that, or even during the weekend, the parents are also still busy, perhaps attending to parties, visiting and all that. So it means that they have also failed in their responsibility as parents, because you cannot tell me that you bring 4 children without being there to look.
You will be there, but what I'm trying to say
is, so why would you not blame it on the society eventually?
It doesn't. Responsibility of kids doesn't just fall solely on. I mean responsibility. I'm not talking about financial responsibility.
No. Morally,
exactly.
Yes.
It doesn't just fall on the shoulder of the parent. You will do what you have to do, but at the end of the day, these kids are spending more time in school. They're actually communicating with different people from different backgrounds.
So what do you do to help that situation?
That's why I said schools should actually, put moral subjects.
A teacher would do. A teacher would do what they need to do.
I feel it will go a long way, because imagine you're hearing the same thing from home, and when you get to school, you're hearing something from home. When you get to school, it's the same thing. It will stick to you. But whereby because a guy that would, a boy, because this is not even a guy, a boy that would impregnate 2 women, it simply means he's saying something, in the society that shouldn't be. I'm not just going to place the whole, that's saying that it takes a whole village to raise a child. It's not just a saying, it is the truth. Because at the end of the day, you would pray in the morning, just like when I was growing up. You wake up as early as 5 o'clock, 5 a.m. to pray.
Devotion.
And when you go outside, you see what you want to see, and you choose what you want to do at the end of the day.
Now, that's why I said, in as much as it might be difficult for us to accept the fact that, yes, it is not just, the buck doesn't just stop on the desk of the parent. It also cut across even the school authorities and, of course, the environment, the community, because like you said, it takes a community to raise a child. But then again, if you look at it from the angle of, okay, when I want to have a child, what is my motive of having a child? Do I just want to have a child because I'm old enough to have a child?
You do what you can do.
When the child comes back, do I also play the role of being a friend of that child, just to know what the child has encountered? If you ask good questions, not for the sake of disciplining that child in terms of using the rod, but using your mouth to do the discipline, the child will learn to confide in you. But the moment you make it look like it's a scary moment when you want to have a conversation with your child, then so much information will be hoarded from you.
Josh, it's more than that.
I feel that's where some parents are not getting it right.
It's more than that, because you forget that, you see, the teen era is one crazy era that
because
you
of
need
technology, social media and all that.
Social media, the society, at that point, it is whatever the society dumps on the child that the child decides to take.
And it's up to you, it beholds on you as a parent to make that child your friend. If you go a step further,
you can have a friend. If your best friend will not tell you everything. Do you believe that?
Not your child.
Do you believe?
It depends on the relationship you have with that child. I can tell you, if you form that relationship with your child as a friend,
we'll have this chat about a bottle of beer. Don't worry.
I hope so.
All right, we actually have pressed for time. So let's take the last story. A video of a lady welcoming her husband's second wife into the family has got a lot of people talking. Now let's take a look at that video.
Okay.
Now, the first question said, if you see happiness here, then you are mad. Even Shola Allison will be angry. A track was used there. Okay, I think Shola Allison's track was used for the video. Another reaction said, let me tell you a little secret. If you want to live long, make some money and marry more than one wife. You know why? Please, if you know why, kindly explain to me, because to be honest, I don't know why. Another reaction. It seems the Yoruba culture, or since Yorubas clearly understand better the idea and concept of our long-time practice African polygamous marriage than any other tribe in Nigeria. I cherish their unalloyed love and unity exhibited to one another in such a union. Kudos. Another reaction said, polygamy is the future. The problem is men have been brainwashed to believe that handling two women is more difficult than one. It is a sham. The truth is, women are like sellers. They behave well when there's competition. Now, wow. Another reaction. Aluk alone says it all. She's not happy. She just wants to fulfill all righteousness by welcoming the lady. Another reaction said, can't be me. He won't actually live to see this wedding since we all want to be meant. Josh, I know you're actually an advocate for polygamy.
Polygamy?
No.
I'm not an advocate.
Oh, I thought you said men are polygamous in nature.
No. I didn't say so. I was just, taken aback when Uche cited it that it's in the woman nature to be polygamous.
It's because
I was expecting the other way around.
So
because that's been the generalization about men that they are polygamous in nature. Now, let's get back to the discussion we're having. It is obvious from the video that this woman is not happy. So let's not even, pretend about it. She's not happy. And looking at it from the angle of this guy, Oni of Twitter, who said it's in the, is it Oni of, no, Mestro J. He said this is a long-term culture associated with, the Yorubas. I don't know how true that is, but culturally speaking, I know this cuts across every region of the country. They practice polygamy. My grandfather was a polygamy, so I understand what it means. So, but then, now taking it further to the issue of how women feel brainwashed.
So the women are like sellers.
Yeah, they're like sellers. I think you could link it up to a business dealing. How do I mean? If you have someone alone selling a particular product, there seems to be this monopoly, especially when it comes to pricing and all. And then when you now see somebody who is doing a competitive business, that person tends to sit up because obviously if you put your price so high, definitely people will resort to the other guy. So I think this now is what he's using now to juxtapose the fact that if a woman you decide to marry is the only one in the house, she seems to be a god. And the possibility of misbehaving, for him, the possibility of misbehaving is inevitable. But the moment someone steps into that same shoe, she sits up. She knows that if she misbehaves, you could switch. So maybe it's trying to borrow the idea of business dealing when you have just one person doing a particular product. There seems not to be a competition. The person seems to be doing it the way he wants. But the moment there's a competitor, there's a balance.
Okay.
So I think that's what he's just trying to say in this case.
With that saying, that simply means if my man too is misbehaving.
If your house seems to be unsteady, just bring in another man.
Another man.
Okay, in your case.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm looking at it from my own case.
So you now, if your home is actually looking shaky, you bring another woman to shake up your wife.
No, I wouldn't do that. I'm not buying this idea.
I'm sure you wouldn't do that.
No, I'm just buying this idea.
And again,
because it works for most people anyway.
Who gives anyone the right to actually call women or label women sellers? It's for me, this is actually very ridiculous. Why would you even, if your home is shaking, why would you even think of bringing another person into the home to actually stop it from shaking?
Perhaps it's just what he has seen, maybe in movies or in real life scenarios where it played out and actually happened. But then I would not subscribe to his nomenclature
I like how
of
women are actually very vocal now, and I think that's why we're even though I'm not an advocate of cheating, I think that's why we are having so many DNA issues, and I'm not even sorry about it, because the men go out, they do these things, in the open with their full chest, and then they come back and say men are polygamous. Men are polygamous. That is why they are all having bastards now as children. You do me, I do you. God no go waiting, he no go verse. Because at the end of the day, they keep hiding under the men are polygamous in nature, men are this, men are that. Now, I see another one, women are like sellers.
The issue is that if if he decides to take in another wife, just as this guy did, and do it in the way culturally it's acceptable, I don't think they will see it as cheating. It is when it comes to you, or it occurs to you like, you know, a rumor without even you seeing it happen. Then you can now start alleging that he's cheating on you.
It simply means you were cheating.
You know, sometimes
you actually go pay someone,
you know, sometimes they discuss it with a woman. I want to bring, you know, because from my family we have it.
There is no woman that would accept it. But anyways, what do I know? All I know, if you cheat on me, I cheat on you.
What if the man brings another woman?
I'll bring another man into the house.
Into whose house?
Into the house.
No, not the
house. By the time you marry me, it has become our house. So the house, if you bring another wife, I bring another man.
So
everybody's happy.
So who is the head?
You know, concern me. We don't get two head already.
Ah.
Yes.
We can't have two captains in the ship.
That's all that we are. Now you sabi.
Don't do this one.
That's all that we are.
As they say, Ire.
All right. That's the much that we have. That's all the stories that we have.
Thank you so much, Debbie, for making our day. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Well, that's all we'll be having to share with you today. We hope we've been able to make your day. Join us same time tomorrow for yet another bumper pack of the show. Once again, my name is Joshua Okata.
And my name is Deborah Eze.
We'll see you tomorrow.